What's going on, everybody? This is Black Men Sundays. I'm your host, Corey Sylvester Murray, and we're talking about generational wealth, finance, business, and of course, mental health.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away. I refuse to be the man I was yesterday. Gotta put my best foot forward and elevate.
We're talking about mental health during the holidays. And on today's show, we're speaking with Dr. Izetta Briggs Bolling. She has a doctoral degree in social work. She's a licensed clinical social worker. She's a licensed mental health counselor, and she's a master credentialed alcohol and substance abuse counselor. This sister came on our show last year around the Christmas holidays. Dr. Izetta Briggs Bolling, welcome back to Black Men Sunday, sister. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me.
Definitely. So I definitely appreciate you coming on the show last year. You dropped a lot of gems. A lot of people listened to that show. A lot of people watched that show. And I had a lot of responses. So I said, let's bring her back this year. So I'm ready to go in and get this conversation started. So right now, because I was talking to a buddy of mine and he always is depressed during the holidays. So from your point of view, clinically, what can someone do if the holidays always triggers depression and anxiety for them every year?
I would say that they try to find themselves a therapist, someone that they could speak to well in advance of the holidays so that they could develop certain skills and plans, come up with different plans that will help them to decrease whether it's depression, whether it's anxiety. It also could be seasonal depression or anxiety so that they could really understand what some of the challenges are that they are experiencing and seek some guidance into doing things differently, because you know how the saying is, if we do what we've always done, then we'll get what we've always got. So if this person seeks some other ways of experiencing and interacting in the holidays, maybe their symptoms will be decreased.
I got you. Okay. And how does holiday stress show up differently in Black men compared to others?
Historically, let's just be honest, here in America, holidays have meant different things for people of color in general. And when it comes to the Black male, I think that, if we go all the way back to how Black men were brought to America, it wasn't by choice. And throughout the generations, the Black male has been treated in a secondary manner. So a lot of times it may bring up even generational traumas for Black men, in reference to finances, in reference to financial expectations. We look at television and there's always this expectation of this grandeur because it's the holidays, and that could be it could bring up trauma. It could be traumatic for Black men. It could bring up just different experiences growing up, whether negative or positive. It could bring up grief and loss. It could bring up just many different experiences and memories, challenges, or even concerns for the future for that individual, or maybe even, I want to say, maybe even groups of Black men. So friend groups could get together, and where we might think this is a positive experience for them, depending on the conversations that they have collectively, it may not. And they are expected to be joyous at this time of year. And it just always isn't that. And to just understand that each person's experience could be different. Each community's experience could be different. And if I'm worried about, especially, now with different things changing so rapidly, if I'm worried about, in the next few months, will I be able to afford health care for my family? That may not, this holiday season might not be the best for me, just based on what the circumstances are that an individual may be facing for their family.
People overspend during the holidays. Some people say I overspend, it makes me feel better. So my
Mm.
question for you is, why do people overspend during the holidays when they know they're going to be hurt financially?
Because the media, social media, everything, the expectations are so heightened. Oh, you have to get a gift for this person. You have to do this for that person. Your children, it's become so commercialized that the holiday, as Christmas especially, is that it's all about giving and giving in abundance. And I think we've gotten away from just expressing love and being appreciative and grateful for what we already have, instead of wanting so much of what we think we should have, or being it's pretty much propaganda, feeding into and falling into the propaganda of, if you don't have this, then your value is decreased as a result of a material thing that you didn't purchase, instead of focusing more on the love, which is really what the holiday is supposed to be about.
Gotcha. And also, I'm, seeing, I would say over the last few years, the gambling has increased. Different apps. It's easier to, do a plus or minus, get your money right then. So, how do financial setbacks from holiday gambling impact mental health in January?
I am a certified gambling clinician as well, and so sometimes, so overspending and gambling, they go hand in hand. They're closely correlated, and usually when, so families go to casinos, and they go to places where gambling is prominent, or the primary focus of the event. A lot of times you'll see there are malls, and the malls are geared to the women. So the women go shopping while the men are gambling. But a gambling problem is a mental health concern. And sometimes it, for the moment, will alleviate the mental health challenge, or the depression, or the anxiety that the person may be experiencing initially. But what happens is it will increase that depression overall, because those bills are going to come in. So when the bills come in, what's the first thing that may be thought? Well, if I get a quick win, if I buy these scratch offs, so the bill is $50, I may go out and buy $25 worth of scratch offs, which inevitably has now put me in $75 worth of debt versus $50 worth of debt, because the chances of me winning with those 25, they're exponentially, the odds are exponentially against me. I might have a win, but that's what the mindset is that now I need to get a quick win and a big win to cover the losses, and that's called chasing your losses.
See, I call it digging ditches. Because sometimes you get,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
because sometimes you dig so deep where it's like, okay, I can't quite climb out. Okay, my feet are in it at first. Okay, I can lift my feet up. But then once you get down so low, it's like, okay, I need somebody to help me.
Mm-hmm. And a
You
lot of
know,
times what happens is the spouse, like, they get upset when there's a loss, but they're in it when there's a win. So it's almost like a double-edged sword for the person who is the gambler, because when it's up, we're all up. But when we're down, we're all down. But the person that's doing the gambling is the person that gets all the weight for the loss.
so what's the difference between betting for fun and emotional gambling?
So betting for fun is something that you could have a set amount, and you say, when this is gone, it's gone. If it's gone in 2 minutes, it's gone in 2 minutes. If it takes 2 hours, usually a person that's betting for fun, they probably will not stay and gamble for long periods of time. Emotional gambling is something that you're participating in the activity or the function, but your brain is not there. It's kind of like it's used for an escape. So there's two kinds of gamblers. There are action gamblers, and there are, like you just said, emotional gamblers. An action gambler is gambling for the chase. They're gambling for the excitement. Like, you'll see them, they're animated, they're all involved, and they may be yelling, they may be, when it's up, they're really excited. But either way, they're excited, whether winning or losing, because it's all about the action of it and how the action makes them feel. An emotional gambler is someone that may just be they're an escape gambler is more of an emotional gambler. They're just sitting there and they may be playing a slot machine, or they may be doing something that is just by rote. They're just doing it over and over and over, very repetitious, because they're not really wanting to be in the moment or thinking about, they want to escape from whatever thoughts they or problems they may be experiencing. And a lot of times an escape gambler will not even realize that that's what they're doing. It's something that they believe that they enjoy, but it helps them separate from whatever the problems are for that moment in time. Very similar to, both of them are very similar to someone that may be using a substance. So an action gambler may be very similar to someone that has taken a stimulant, and an escape gambler may be, it helps them to relax or to subdue whatever thoughts or feelings they may be experiencing.
What rules should people set for themselves before placing their first bet?
I think to maybe have a set amount that they're going to spend, and maybe not bring it with them. So if you don't have your cards with you, if you don't have all of your cash with you, when the money runs out, you have to actually leave where you are to get more. Don't set up what do they lines of credit, or tabs or things like that. Have time limited gambling opportunities set up and experiences set up. So if you say, okay, I have this amount of money, but I'm only going to be there for an hour, and maybe set it up where you have another activity after, or another function after, that is important enough for you to make the decision to, I'm going to leave here because I need to be someplace else.
From a clinical standpoint, what mental health issues spike most during the holidays?
I think almost every mental health concern can spike during the holidays. It could be alcohol, it could be substance use, it could be if someone is bipolar and they become, if they're bipolar 1, they can become manic. If they're bipolar 2, that level of depression, they have a baseline of depression which may increase as a result of the bipolar 2. Schizophrenia, schizoaffective disorder, there could be triggers. There could be someone might have borderline personality disorder, and there was trauma. There's underlying trauma that may have occurred during the holiday seasons. So anything that you could think of could be increased during this time. And it's interesting because most people would say, oh, during this time, this is a festive time of year, but it's not, because people experience grief, they experience loss. And so what may have been a very happy time for them growing up, or may have been a very sad time for them growing up, could still have some semblance of sadness or depression, because as life goes on, the longer we live, the more people we lose,
Wow.
inevitably due to death. That empty chair at the dinner table, or that empty chair at the gathering, just the reality that so and so is not here anymore. Or the memory, some people are, to be honest, some people may be happy that so and so is not here anymore, but this gathering makes them remember, or focus more on the negative experience um, that they received during that time from that person. So there are many different ways that people experience the holidays, and sometimes it could ebb and flow. So I could feel good at this point and then down at that point, and people don't really realize, in the same setting, I could feel really happy in one moment and really sad in another moment.
Great information. And let's talk about, it's Christmas time, it's holidays. So it's going to be a lot of holiday gatherings. So, how do you navigate holiday gatherings when certain family members may be emotional triggers for you?
Hmm. I think the first thing to do is to acknowledge that, and to be honest with yourself that, Okay. Or your spouse, someone close to you. You might want to share how you're feeling with someone that you feel will accept what you're feeling, from a non-judgmental perspective, and not try to talk you out of your feeling. And being a clinician, I think it would be a therapist, someone that you're not emotionally attached to, so that you could be open and honest with what you're feeling and what you anticipate you might experience, so you could prepare for that. So I'm just going to make up a name. So you go into the family function. Aunt Mary is going to be there. Aunt Mary, growing up, Aunt Mary wasn't the nicest to you, or you have some underlying thoughts and feelings pertaining to Aunt Mary, and to be able to process that ahead of time, so that you can have a plan of action when you meet with Aunt Mary, because Aunt Mary may be a different person at this point in time, but you may be activated by the Aunt Mary that you know from the past. So to just really acknowledge that these are the feelings that you have, and maybe being able to process them with someone that you trust, and someone that you can be open and honest with, and prepare for how to deal with difficulties of this evening, and
Mm.
and always have an escape plan.
Okay, well, I hear some people's escape plan is, you know what, I'm gonna be tipsy already, so it won't even matter. And I was
Mm.
looking at a study. I was looking at a study before I came on here, and I see that only 54% of adults are drinking now. They're saying we're at a 90-year low due to women and young adults. They're not drinking as much. But, like I said, we're going into the holiday party or family gathering, and you may be triggered by someone. So I hear people say, you know what, I'll just, get a little tipsy and I'm good to go. So, what are your thoughts about that?
So I want to answer that in two parts. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I want to talk about there's 54% not drinking, but how much are smoking? Marijuana is legal in a lot of states at this point in time, and people, we realize now, are they may not be drinking alcohol, but people are using more substances in other ways. So taking more medications or using other substances. So let's that's one way I wanted to answer that. So they may not be tipsy, but they may be intoxicated in another way, or inebriated in some other form. The other thing I wanted to say is that sometimes people say, well, I'm going to be intoxicated anyway, so I won't pay attention to Aunt Mary. Sometimes the alcohol can have an adverse effect, and that person be more activated by Aunt Mary. So we really can't always depend on uh, a substance to take those feelings away from us. Sometimes they can increase them. And Aunt Mary might make a statement to whomever about their drinking or their choices for the evening, and then their response may not be favorable to Aunt Mary, or they may not have the result that they really plan to have from the beginning.
So let's stay right on that. At what point does holiday drinking become more than of a celebration or a good time?
So that's something for the individual that's drinking. That's something for them to pay attention to. Because what happens is, I think the more you drink within a time period, is the more inebriated you can become in a quick period of time. And what happens is, alcohol is, it goes into our bloodstream. So people may think the faster I drink this drink, the the sooner it's going to impact me, but it doesn't really work that way. It takes a certain amount of time for the alcohol to get into your bloodstream, but once it gets into your bloodstream, you may become more intoxicated than you anticipated or you even thought. So now you drank the three shots to try to feel it quicker, but that's not what happened. When it kicked in, now you've passed the point of where you want it to be. And just like it takes time for you to feel the alcohol, it takes time for the alcohol to leave your body, and for you to decrease the alcohol to decrease, and you to start, and sobriety to kick in. So a person may be inebriated for a period of time, or intoxicated for a longer period of time than they anticipated, and at a more heightened level. But sometimes people, the alcohol, it's taking its time to get to the highest level, and a person may not realize that they are as intoxicated as they are, and everyone else around them can see it, but that person is not aware of it. And they may decide to drive, or they may think that they can cook, or they may think that they can do activities that they usually would be able to do without a problem, and they're significantly intoxicated. As homeowners, as we talk about financial responsibility and fiduciary responsibilities, we are responsible for how intoxicated people become in our homes and how they leave our homes. So different states have different laws, but in certain states, if you leave my house inebriated and I know that you were overly intoxicated, and I allow you to drive, I could be held liable for something that occurs, because I have a responsibility, just like a bar would have to say, you know what, I can't give you any more, or to ensure that someone has Ubers in place that we call. We have to be strong enough to say to someone, I am not going to let you leave here in this state. Now, if you're willing to call an Uber, or I will call an Uber and I will pay for it, and you can pay me back later, but we have a responsibility to make sure that people leave our homes safe, that others, we're not putting others at risk, and we're not putting our loved one at risk, because we don't want the next holiday, that empty seat, to be a reality as a result of us not being strong enough to say, hey man, or hey sister, you're not in a position, you're not in a good position to be driving, and I'm not going to let you leave here in this state. That's really love. So sometimes, if you know you're going to have a big party and the family is going to be around, and you know, like we talked about Aunt Mary, we know that Uncle Billy, he has a, he has a propensity to drink a lot, or to do whatever a lot, to maybe just say, you know what, you can stay on the couch, or whatever, or I've already set up the Uber. That's a great thing to do, is to make it part of the planning process ahead of time, so you're not arguing with someone who's unreasonable because they're intoxicated. So if we have the plan in place beforehand, so this family's coming, that family's coming, like maybe people could get a hotel room, or we already have the Uber set up. They're going to come, and they said they're already ready. So we just need to call them to come pick you up at such and such a time. There are things that we can do as family members, in love and out of love, to help our loved ones that may just want to let their hair down. It may be someone that doesn't drink a lot, but once a year they just go all in, because it's all of us together, and they just really want to have a good time, and we can help them and say, you know what, we're already going to have the Uber set up. The credit card is already there. You just come, you enjoy yourself. If you want to go home, you can. If you want to stay, you can. But the Uber is on speed dial, and that's how we can be responsible for our loved ones. Just like we're responsible for the turkey, we can be responsible for the Uber. Or we have someone designated that you set up the Ubers. You know what I mean? We make it up. Everybody has a part to play, and that could be one of the responsibilities that we incorporate in the pre-planning of the big party time. You will never spend as much, no matter how far you ride in that Uber, you will never spend as much as you will spend on a DWI. If you go from here to California, you will not spend as much money as you will spend on getting a DWI. So be safe and plan ahead.
Also, let's talk about that on the flip side. How can someone enjoy the holidays sober without feeling isolated.
Okay. So there are a lot of ways to do that. And I'm a harm reductionist because I talked about that last year. So I come from a harm reduction perspective. So someone can do it totally abstaining without any alcohol. There are lots of beverages now that are non-alcoholic that you can so someone could have a pina colada and someone else could have a mocktail, which is a mock pina colada, which has no alcohol in it. So I am participating in the same festivities with everyone else and enjoying myself. However, I've made a decision that alcohol will not be a part of my evening, but I am interacting and I have the same glass and I am feeling just as comfortable as everyone else. Someone else might decide that, you know what, I would like to have two drinks for the evening, but it's a 4 hour event. So people may be having a drink every hour. So maybe the person's my first drink might be an alcoholic beverage, and my second drink might be non-alcoholic beverage. And then I might drink some water in between, and then have another drink based on the time frame that I've set for myself, and then make a decision that at a certain point in time, that's where drinking will end. So that's a harm reduction model where a person would make sure that they do not become more intoxicated than um than they're comfortable with, and still be able to enjoy the festivities of the evening with everyone and not feel that everyone is giving them a secondary glance like, well, why is Dr. Bowling not having a drink? I am having a drink. It just may not be what you're drinking. So there are different ways to incorporate that. A lot of times when people ask me, people that are maybe in recovery and they may be at a family function, I will say to them, make sure you bring your drink of choice and bring enough for others, because you never know. There may be someone else there that has made a decision to not drink, and they don't know what they could bring or what they should bring. You may have brought enough for that person to participate with you, and you now have a buddy that the two of you have decided to either not drink or to drink moderately, and you have something with you that you can share and also feel comfortable drinking, like a non-alcoholic beer or a non-alcoholic beverage.
Oh wow, that's great information right there. And what warning signs should families look for during the holiday or family gatherings?
So, a lot of times people are drinking, and sometimes people are mixing alcohols. That's never really a good thing to do, because different alcohols impact different people differently. Have you ever heard someone say, "Oh no, I don't drink the dark liquor," or "Oh no, that tequila, I don't mess with the tequila," because different alcohols affect people differently. So family members might ask their guests, what do you drink?" Or they might say something like, bring what you like to drink, because you don't want to put someone in a situation where this is all we have, and this particular alcohol does not fare well with this individual, because they may want to participate in the festivities and put themselves in a problematic situation. If someone is drinking really quickly and they start to our bodies will tell us when we're developing alcohol poisoning. A sign of alcohol poisoning is when a person starts to throw up. That means that their body can no longer take the amount of alcohol that they're ingesting. So our body has a way of expelling it. So when a person starts to throw up, a person may start to sweat. When a person is staggering or slurring, this person is significantly intoxicated, and maybe the family could intervene by saying, "Hey, how about having some water, or let's you and I drink some water together," so that it's slowing down the person from drinking and allowing the alcohol to kind of go through their system and go through their bloodstream. Another thing to be careful of is someone that has exhibited um, alcohol intoxication or alcohol poisoning is going to sleep. People could choke. They could start to vomit in their sleep and not know it, and choke, and then asphyxiate and pass away. So if the person is lying down, make sure that they put them on their side so that if they do regurgitate, it'll come out of them instead of them lying on their back and it going back down, because it could get in their windpipe and no one know.
Wow. Wow, that's great information. I'm gonna just pause for a second. Are you enjoying yourself on Black Men Sundays?
I am. I am. Thank you for asking. I am. And I'm just thinking of, if you see me like looking, it's kind of me like that's how I think about the information that I'm sharing, and I try to double check that what I'm saying is actually factual as I'm saying it. But I really want to educate our people, our family members, how to be safe while we are enjoying one another, and how to be in tune with our loved ones that may not be enjoying, because they may have been enjoying 5 minutes ago, but now they've drifted off to the side and they're not interacting. And not to make it a big thing, but maybe to go over and just check in with that loved one and say, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on? I noticed that you kind of pulled away." And sometimes to be aware that the life of the party may be experiencing some form of depression, but how they're expressing it is through laughter and joy, and seeming to be having a great time. And if we look back and we look at Robin Williams, he was a great comedian, and no one knew that he was dealing with severe depression. So it could be our family members as well. We learn how to mask our hurt and our pain, especially when we don't want to damper the good time of others.
Wow, that's great information. So, what does a mentally healthy holiday season look like?
It looks like what we make it. It looks like us loving on each other regardless of what state we may be in. So I may be sad due to a loss and someone not being present. But just trying, like, if we tap in with each other, and it's not for us to bring it up, but if someone brings it up, to not try to say to them, well, they're say things like, oh, that person's in a better place, or tell the person, don't damper the day by bringing the person up. That person may need to speak about the loved one that may not be there, because that's what helps them to feel better. And if it bothers someone, then that person may need to have someone that they trust and feel comfortable with, that they can talk about it. So creating an atmosphere where everyone can be themselves, and just love on one another in the best way possible, and just acknowledging that this holiday season is not joyous for everyone, but whether you're sad, happy, or whatever, we want you to be with us, and you're welcome here.
And how can people create new holiday traditions when the old ones bring pain?
I always say, do what makes you happy in this season. And no one can tell anybody how they need to celebrate or enjoy the season. If it's whatever it is, to embrace it with someone, and to find someone that will understand what you need and be willing to assist you with that, whoever it is, and whatever that feels like for you. So if there's a family, and having the big dinner no longer is, it doesn't seem appropriate anymore, do what makes sense for you and your family. That might be, we have a small dinner and we all go to a happy movie together, or we go ice skating together, or we do whatever makes you happy is what your holiday tradition should be. Whatever brings that smile to your face is what you should do. If it's sitting there going through the photo albums and just laughing and enjoying, if it's, playing that spades game and going, pap, that's what mama would have said, whatever it is, do it. Do it do what we enjoy, how we enjoy it. And I think if everybody accepts that, then I think everybody's experience will be enjoyable in whatever way that is for them. So I think about certain holiday events. You'll see different people in different clusters doing different things. So the spades game might be over there. There may be some people in the kitchen cooking. There may be there's people gathered around the music and the DJ because they're like, okay, play this song. There may be people on the dance floor. They figure out different ways to enjoy and do what they need to do, and different people maybe mingling and going around to each event, not really participating in anything but spending time at each station, because that's what they do. And someone is telling stories about remember this and remember that, and everyone trying to enjoy to the best of their ability. I think a big thing is forgiveness. And sometimes we have to learn what is forgiveness and how can I bring forgiveness um, how can I bring forgiveness to the event, and how can I bring acceptance to the event so that I can accept everyone who's here for who they are. And if there's been some ought, forgiveness is not for that other person. Forgiveness is for me so that I can have an enjoyable experience and always bringing love with me.
Is it okay to skip family for your mental health?
Absolutely. That's when I said, do whatever it is that will bring you happiness and bring you joy. And if not being there is what's best for you and your overall mental health, that's what you do. Sometimes, family is not always blood. Family could be what we make it. So maybe, aunties and uncles is not where I'm going to be today. Maybe I'm going to go to my good friend and spend time over there because the vibes there suit my needs today, make me feel better today. Or I may need to do, sometimes people are not ready to be in an event where they know there's going to be drinking, and they know that family members, because they know the me of yesterday, they're going to come over and they're going to say, come on and have a drink, one is not going to hurt you, or have a smoke, one is not going to hurt you. Where I have made the decision for myself that one might not hurt you, but one will hurt me. And maybe this year I'm going to skip the event because I am not in a in the best place emotionally, and I have to do what's best for me so that maybe next year I can attend.
And what boundaries should people set during the holidays that often go ignored?
I think like what I was just saying, if someone says no, don't accept that no. If someone says no, I'm not drinking today for whatever reason, accept that. Don't force people. I had a loved one that was saying to me that people always want to get them to do shots. They're like shots, 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 shots. And this particular person has made a decision, a conscious decision, that they will not drink shots. And it's almost like, am I not valuing this person's decision to say no? And in a way, I'm devaluing them as a person and as someone that I love, because I am pushing them to do something that they have already said no to. I think no in all areas should just mean no, and that we should be able to enjoy them and love them with their decision to to say no to alcohol, to substances, even to that extra piece of cake. Whatever that person says no to should be honored and respected. And that is a boundary that me as the host, that I should instill. And it is a boundary that the person that has to say no, that's something they should set for themselves. Because if I'm aware that something may be harmful to me, then I have a right and a responsibility to protect me first. Because if I'm not my best, then I can't give you my best because it's not here.
If someone is struggling right now during the holidays, what's the first step that they should take today?
So reach out. There's all sorts of mental health assistance in every community. So find out what it is in your community. If you're not there, you could Google it. You could even call there's usually a local number, but you could call 911 and say, you know what, I am not feeling right. I am struggling. For some reason I feel sadder than I usually feel. I don't know what I'm experiencing, but something is not right. Most of the time they will give you a number to an emergency mental health hotline. There are so many different hotlines. There's the 1-800 SAMHSA, substance abuse and mental health services, and that's the national one. So if you reach out to SAMHSA, they can connect you to services in your local area. But reach out. And just that, if you're part of Black Men's Sunday, I'm sure there are different resources in all different communities. So this is a great resource, I believe, for individuals that may be having challenges, because you are connected to so many of us in so many different states and cities throughout the country. So I would just encourage people to reach out. Don't feel, and it's not a weakness, it's actually a strength to say, I need help. It's a strength to ask for help. It's a weakness to sit in sorrow and not do anything about it. If a person's leg was broken, they will go to the hospital to get it set. If something is emotionally going on, please reach out. The sooner you do, the sooner you will heal, the sooner you will be better. And it is not like it used to be, where people thought, if I'm experiencing a mental health concern, my family will shun away from me. I'm encouraging and imploring people to seek the services that you need. We're out here and we're available, and we want to help you.
Wow, there we have it. Dr. Izetta Briggs Bolling, I appreciate you. I appreciate your time coming back on Black Men Sundays 2 years in a row. Okay, I'm gonna have to invite you back
You
next year. I think we should make this an annual thing.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. I just appreciate being a part of this. This seems like, it feels like a movement to me, and I thank you so much, Corey, and thank you for doing what you do, because this platform is really important. And to all my Black men, stay up. Us Black women are behind you.
Well, there we have it. Thank you for coming back on Black Men Sundays and enjoy your holiday season.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a Black Man Sunday. Time to put all childish things away.